Hello, I am Gurjot Singh. I am a doctoral student with Wexford University. I am conducting an interview with Adrian Wright. He is a two-time national weightlifting champion. He is also, his sports also included wrestling and martial arts. I don't particularly know the particular martial art, but I know wrestling is one of them. This puts it into his skill set into the realm of combat sports, which is my area of expertise. I'm interviewing him today on a generative action plan with the meta model. And I'll be asking him a few questions, and he can answer any way he wants to try and find out exactly what it is that he desires with regard to his next weightlifting event. So here we go. Adrian, how you doing?
I'm well, G.
All right, bro. All right, way to go, way to go. All right, man. Now here's the deal. I'm going to ask you a question, a real quick one. Adrian, when it comes down to the next event that you have, what event is it, by the way? The next event that you have?
It is a bench press deadlift competition at the Iowa State Fair.
Oh, okay, great. All right, and that's going to be when in August?
Yes, mid-August.
Mid-August, and that's a couple of months from now, 2 or 3 months from now.
Yeah, roughly speaking.
When we talk about this stuff we're talking about now, we're going to keep it in that context, okay? The context of your goals. So tell me something. What is your desired goal?
My desired goal
in this context of that area of that.
Regarding the competition,
yeah,
G, I want to finish and retire. I'm ready to pass the torch.
Oh, okay, okay. You want to finish your career, and how do you want to finish your career with that event? In what way do you want to finish?
It's not. The goal for me is not to remain on top, but hopefully, by what is accomplished, that it will instill confidence into all those who are striving to be champions.
So if I can backtrack and get the summary down, your goal really is to perform very well, at least admirably
yes.
at this event. Is there a number on that? Do you have a number on your desired state? You want to be third place, second place? Is it just competing, making it past the first round? I mean, explain. I mean, you have some more solid ones. How do you define success for your goal? How do you define your goal of success? How do you define it?
Well, success
at that event.
At that event, it's just being there and accomplishing the first obstacle thrown at you, or the first attempt. So it's a matter of getting past what we call the runway, for that matter.
Okay.
So once you get past the runway, then everything seems to go downhill from there. So once you get past the runway, then you can't do nothing but continue to glide.
So your goal for this competition, your desired goal for this competition is to?
It's not about setting or breaking any records for me. My desire is to just instill confidence in those who are striving to get to even the level of competition in where I'm at now.
Gotcha. Yeah. And how are you going to, in your performance there, how are you going to do that? What are you going to do in your performance to make other people feel that inspiration?
Pursue the goal at hand.
So would it be fair to say that if you make it through all the attempted lifts that you go through without failing, every one you attempt, you make it, okay, and do it, would that be a fair assessment, even if it's not the best weight or whatever? Would that be a fair assessment of saying I did a good job and people should be inspired by that?
I can believe that.
Okay, so bottom line is, so if they can understand it, because I understand exactly what you mean. Okay, you're going into it for the intrinsic value and for the task value of saying, hey, listen, I did it, I want to enjoy myself, I want to have a ball, I want to have a good time, and I want people to see, no matter what age you are, no matter where you're at, okay, you can always do a great job. It's not.
Exactly.
Okay.
Can I speak in regards to this? Through the course of competing, in this event in particular, I've actually competed in this event since 2001 is when I started. And over the course of years, it went from being really competitive, and I've gotten to where people have, it's like they become like it's like a fan. It's like I developed some type of fan base, if you will.
Yeah.
And so the amount of weight or records, it's not about the records being set anymore. Anymore, I do it for the love of the people. And so now it becomes, that's where it goes back to that confidence that we were talking about. There are those out there who've talked to me about wanting to get to that level of, in their lifting, to be able to compete. And people say that, oh, I'll never accomplish that. And so I say, with hard work and consistency, you too can do this. And so it's just a reminder, I didn't earn this overnight, but I did train for this, and you can do the same. And so me, it's just a message of to train hard and stay consistent, and you too can accomplish this. But as far as the records go, it takes away from the love of the sport. This is a lifestyle for me.
I got you. Perfect. Again, so what I'm understanding it, for a desire for you with this competition is to perform to the standard of whatever weight that you set up there for. Okay, given the rules, which are you set a weight, okay, you do that weight,
that is
you
correct.
complete it, and you get it done. If you do that, and even if you don't make one, and you get a second attempt, you don't quit, you don't back down, you go for it, okay, until you give it everything. You leave everything you got out there.
That's right. That is correct.
So you have nothing to feel sorry about.
That's right.
So even though you were a champion, even if you don't win that one, okay, you had a champion's heart.
That's right.
So you basically, the desire is to show a champion's heart by never quitting, always pushing as hard as I can push. Okay, and even when it looks like I ain't gonna win, I still don't give up.
That's right.
Is that a good way? Is that what you want to show? Is that your goal?
Yes, definitely.
Outstanding. Gotcha. That being said, the next question I got for you is, right now, and I'm sure you have some weights in your head, some goal weights that you know to do a good job. You have it in your head what you want to do. You can share it or not share it, up to you. But right now, to reach the goal that you're talking about with regard to showing that kind of stuff, where are you at right now? Where are you at right now with regard to being able to display that type of performance?
I'm only at the beginning.
Okay.
Because I'll explain it this way.
Sure.
In training for a particular goal or in a competition, it takes, I roughly take about 16 weeks on a regular, so it is a process. Oftentimes there's some who come in at the last few weeks and they just go in there and unprepared, and they think they're going to, and most of the time, very few are successful. I prefer to put in the time, effort, and discipline to prepare. And so right now, I've not really tested to see exactly where I'm at, to see what particular starting point I'm going to start. So I'm still in the beginning of building the base, so I can have a foundation to build from.
Outstanding. So you're really starting to, you've always competed tons of contests, you've been national champion, but I guess you take every contest separately. Okay.
Yes.
So you're a task organizer that way.
Yes.
And in that sense, right now, you assess your abilities as, hey, I'm the beginning phase, the conditioning phase is where I'm at. Is that about right?
That's exactly. That is absolutely correct.
Got it. That being said, and I noticed you did notice you said something about process. I love that. You said so basically waiting for you isn't just a macho thing. It actually is a science. It's a science of building the body up so that you can achieve your goals. So see, I believe, and everyone's different as far as when they lift and their reasons why. Yeah.
And so you have to understand or know your purpose even in weight training.
Oh, okay.
In my case, as a weightlifter, I'm going to train different from a bodybuilder or a triathlete or a track star or a swimmer. Or the type of training I do consists of very heavy weight, but fewer repetition, versus someone who's maybe a track runner or swimmer, or they're going to want to train with not as heavy amount of weight, but higher repetition. It keeps the muscle endurance. It keeps up their muscle endurance, and it also works in a cardio sense to condition them also. Versus me, the way I train, I'm going to add more mass, muscle density, and I get stronger as the weights get heavier.
Outstanding. The process that we talked about, if you had to break that process into 3 steps to get you to where you want to go, what would be, in your description, the first step that you have to do in your beginning process?
The first step will consist of I have to test myself. By a test, I mean I have to pick a particular amount of weight to see just, for example, I have to do a weight of as heavy as I can stand, a maximum weight.
Right.
And once I'm either going to accomplish it or not. But from that point, there is when I can begin to develop the formula and the method I use to begin the step-by-step training process.
Oh, okay. So if you say beginning, you at the real beginning. You're talking about I got to find out where I'm at right now with regard to what's my max.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. I got you. And so basically, if you was 4 stages, I got to check out where I'm at, and then once I know where I'm at, then I can break it down.
Right.
What's the next step that you got there?
And so once I've discovered where I'm at, see that max is going to tell me like where exactly I'm at.
Right.
And so from that point, I would begin to devise a 16-week. Well, I'll say 16 week. Reason why I say 16 weeks because there's the transition stage. So there's many stages into this.
Right.
And we can walk through it. And so what I do.
Can you break it down to 4? Can you break it down just to 4?
I'll do the best I can.
The best you can. Yeah.
It
sounds like once you get that, the next phase really is, it ain't really doing no muscle. It sounds like it's planning. Once you learn out what it is, you got to sit down and write out your training plan. Is that about right?
Most definitely.
Oh, okay. Talk about that a little bit. The training plan. How do you do that?
What I do is I will begin to when I get about close to about 16 weeks out, I begin to gradually add more weight. I begin to get heavier, and so when it gets time to go to that maximum weight to test myself, my body is already transitioned into that heavier weight. Otherwise, to go there and throw myself into that, like I said, it becomes harder. It's almost like a shock to your body because you have to train your muscles into that transition. And so once I get to that past that transition phase, then I can prepare to do that test of maxing out to see where I'm at. Now, once I've maxed out, it's not a matter of success or failure, it's to see where I'm at. So that's the test. So once I've discovered where I'm at in a lift, then I can put together, because by the time I max out, it's gonna put me at about 12 weeks or so, give or take, to actually really focus on that way, be focused in the process. And so once I get past that maxed out stage in that test, then I can start then I write out the 12-week formula. So then from that max out, for this, we'll say I accomplished it. So let's say I did 550 pounds, and I want to go beyond that. So what I'll do is I'll look at 550, and let's say my goal is 560 for this year, 10 pounds. So then I will count, I'll take 550, then I will go back, let's say 30 pounds. This is an example of what I do, 30 pounds. And what I'll do, I'll stretch that 30 pounds over a 12-week period in a formula doing 2-pound jumps to 3-pound jumps each week in my training.
Oh, okay, all right.
So it stretches out over the course of 12 weeks to increase. And so 550, let's say my first training week would be, and the numbers are off because I count everything kilos, so even the very collars on the weight bench, a collar on each side is equivalent to 1 pound.
Right.
And so I count everything. So let's say, for example, my opening, my first heavy week is going to be 512 pounds. And then the next, it'd be 514, then 516, then 518, then 520. So I take it 2 pounds, 2 to 3 pound jumps each week and stretch that 30 to 40 pounds out to work my way back into that over a course. So by the time I get to my last week of training for that, I should, whatever that number is, to take me at least to, it should say I'm elevated to at least 560 pounds. So what I'll do is I'll take the number I did. For example, let's say it was, let's see, 560. We'll say, let's say the goal was 520 for 2 reps. I'm not hypothetically speaking like that. So I would take 520. I take that formula for 2 reps. Basically, is 520. And you divide it by 0.94, and that'll give you the actual equivalent to what that is equal to for 1 rep max.
Right.
And so I devised my plan that way. So I stretch it out over the course of 12 weeks.
How many? Now you're talking about there are 2 events. There are 3 events that you'll be doing at this thing.
No, just one.
2.
There's 2 events, but I'm only doing one.
And it's a squat.
That is the bench press. I'm only doing bench press. Because bench press and deadlift is what they call a push-pull event.
Gotcha.
But I'm only doing bench press.
Bench press. So you're just doing, for this event, it's bench press that you're doing.
Yes.
Okay. And listen, I'm going to backtrack based on my understanding of it.
Okay.
I got it down. You actually spent a couple of weeks prior to the beginning with what you've already done. Okay. To find out where you're about to. Right now, you're almost ready to do your test on max weight. So you've done everything you can up to that point. Now it's time so you won't hurt yourself.
Exactly.
And now you're ready to do. Okay. Let's pump it out one. See what I got.
Exactly.
Once you do that, then you're going to go into a break. That's your first phase. Then you're going to go into the second phase, which is planning.
Exactly.
Okay, you're going to plan out how you're going to do the next 12 weeks.
Exactly.
Once that goes down, once you get that plan down, your plan is going to basically go with a formula that breaks that number down to 0.9, which represents 1 max lift that you should do in preparation for moving up at least 10 more pounds in your competition.
That's exactly
right.
Right.
And you're going to practice that. Up to that, you're going to work on that conditioning. Never quite reaching that one, because I guess you don't want to max out.
Right.
But you don't want to peak. You want to peak exactly at the time.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so this might take how many weeks? Because right now we're in third. Beginning, okay, was your conditioning. Second was your max lift day, which kind of ended that first phase. Second phase was your planning.
Right.
Third phase is your, what's your third phase?
We're at work.
We're ready to actually
working the plan.
Third phase is working that plan. So actually, first phase is the beginning. Second phase is beginning of that plan. Once that plan is working, how many? And we're starting into 12
our
weeks.
training. Yep.
What after you have? How do you? The third planning plan. What is the fourth phase? Is the fourth phase? Is there a fourth phase before you actually compete?
The fourth phase, I will do. Yes, there is. And the reason why I do this, I'll train. See, once I've gotten past my last heavy training week, right?
Conditioning.
Right. Once I accomplish that, there's usually about within the same week, because the competition's on a Saturday, so that Monday of the same week of the competition, I'll work up to a certain amount of weight, not overall close to max weight. The reason why I do that is so when I do compete, it's not such a shock to the muscles. So because muscle memory, but yet that way the muscles, it's like it won't be a shock to them. It's almost like the muscles expect it because they've grown accustomed to handle that kind of weight. So it's just the overall, just to keep the muscle group familiar with moving that kind of weight is what it all boils down to.
That familiarization in training is one thing. That familiarization in competition is another. When do you do that so that when you do get in competition, okay, and the question I'm going to ask you is a preempt, okay, it's a preemptive question, okay. My question is, I'm curious as to how mentally, when you get on stage, that prior preparation gets you right. I heard you saying, I want to feel comfortable with a weight that I might want to use to get my opponents off guard because it's a high weight. They're probably not expecting it, and I pump that first. Okay, so is that where you're at? That's a supposition. Or are you doing it so that you know what you're going to weight you're going to hit, you know what you're going to go for, that's what you got going. If you got to go more, you may do it. Okay, but that's where you're going. But the comfort, how does that comfort play in competition? How does that comfort play
even in planning? What I like to do is I like to use a weight that I'm very familiar with.
Yeah.
And that way, because once you get past that first lift, it's a
first lift in competition.
Right, it's a confidence builder.
Okay.
So once you get past that first lift,
yeah,
and then it's like you're in the zone. You locked in.
Yeah.
So I like to stay with a range where I'm fairly comfortable, which leaves me room to make the amount to jump up to the next weight and the next amount. And so, for example, my opening lift in a competition on bench press, I would probably open at about 500 to 505 pounds.
Gotcha.
Because I know that's very familiar. I've trained my body past that. In fact, I know I'm familiar with it because my training regimen, the first week of training, actually required me to train beyond 500.
Whoa. Yeah.
500 is a weight that's just basically going to it's going to calm my nerves, and it's also going to put me in a place of comfort, knowing, okay, I've accomplished this. And roughly when I do compete, well, I won't say roughly, when I do compete, I try not to take my jumps in between. I try not to go beyond 25 pounds between each weight. And so, like, for example, if I open my opening lift, my first attempt is 500,
yeah,
I would go 525. And then after 525, I can go 550. Right. But it also depends on, again, like you said, mentally, where I would be at.
Right. Now, do you ever is your mind on your competitors?
No.
Is your mind on what you're doing?
Yes.
How do you do that? How do you keep that mind where you need it to be?
By keeping to myself and don't get caught up in the hype of the crowd. Just sit still, and just focus on the plan at hand. A lot of times lifters get hyped up and they want to run around and they waste all the energy. When you waste the energy, you lose focus. Because then you're caught up in, I'm going to do. You have a goal in mind. You know what your plan is. The best thing to do is sit there and relax. I often shut my eyes and I don't talk. I mean, I have people come and want to ask me questions. I may look at them and nod my head, no, I don't want to talk right now. I mean, I tune everything out. And that's key. You have to be able to tune things out and save it for the attempt or the opportunity when it's your turn. So that's when you let everything out. The adrenaline, just everything.
So you can describe that more as it's obviously there, being a veteran. So I know there's a bitter taste in the mouth sometimes with the competition coming. This maybe the threat, which also is very scary, the threat of doubt, not doubt, but the threat of doubt, okay, is also a scary thing because you're totally confident. You don't want nothing messing up what you're thinking about. My question is, when you go through this stillness, I love that word you use, stillness of breath, stillness of mind, stillness of thought. What are you stilling? What's the thing that you still? Your body, your thinking. What do you still?
In this being still, I like to say that I'm allowing myself now. I'm at the place now where I'm becoming in tune with my body. Both it's spiritual and mentally.
Yeah.
You combine that with physical.
Yeah.
Then it's to the point where you almost morph into almost a super being. I mean, it is awesome.
But man, how do you control that heart racing? You know that right before you get.
Stay calm.
How do you stay calm? That's crazy.
That's why I sit and I don't move.
So when you don't move, that actually your body.
Conserve my energy.
So you're a kinetic dude. If your body stops, everything stops for you. Is that about right? You can keep yourself.
I can keep my heart rate normal. I keep my heart rate normal. My breathing. People don't realize when they're up moving around, they're burning energy.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times you see lifters yelling, screaming, and I used to be one of those. I used to get pumped up to where it was almost like I was hyperventilating with just all the being psyched out breathing. I mean, I may goof around and do that here while training, but when I'm at a meet, it's very minimal.
Awesome. Let me tell you what I think I see. I think I see a person who definitely has an idea about what they want to accomplish, and that idea is very altruistic. Much applause for that, especially being at the level of competition that you are. You said something about retirement. Unless you want to explore that, I don't want to explore that, because really big athletes, when they say retirement, I don't even go what that means sometimes. I'll let that
well,
be.
I could talk. We could. I'm open with that. I have no problem.
I'll get to that in a second. I see somebody who's got their, they know what their goal is. They have steps that they've already practiced. They know works, and they're going to apply it to this. And then last but not least, I see a person that actually already pretty much knows, okay, what can happen at the event, what could happen at the event, and based on what you know is a flow, what will happen at the event. It's that will that I want to go into the next stage. We already got past your plan. Even you've done really well in this interview. I'm not afraid or ashamed to show anything that you talked about. So as long as you're not, I'm going to let this flow. Okay. So the next part I'm going to get into, maybe beginning with your want to retire. I want you to share with people here about flow. We talked about being in the zone. We talked about that in the gym a while back, and the reason why I bring it up again is it's my focus. And one of the things I was very interested in, is a runner gets a high, but we know why. He's still moving. Swimmer gets high. Even boxers sometimes when they're flowing get a high, okay, because it's continuous action. But when you're like a baseball player with regard, or golfer with regard to activity, okay, it's real still by your definition. But when it's time to go, you go with everything you got, or at least as much as you need to go with, okay, based on your capacity. And then you go right back to stillness. And so I wonder, when you talk about a zone, what does that mean to you? What is the zone to you? And this is in, let me be very clear, the zone in training, and if different, the zone in competition, or if the same, the zone in both.
Very different.
Very different. Tell me about the zone in training. What's the zone in training?
The zone in training, I mean, the zone in training here, yeah, I'm serious when I train.
Where do you train at, by the way?
I train at the Des Moines Riverfront YMCA.
Oh, okay. All right. You have training partners, stuff like that?
Yes, I do.
What's it like up there? Is it really good in the YMCA? Is it good working up there? Everything you need?
The atmosphere is intense.
Oh, okay.
And intensity, you know, people say patience is a virtue.
Yeah.
So is intensity, especially in training.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And so I take the level of intensity serious, especially in training, because my partner and I, we feed off of each other's level of intensity and energy.
Yeah.
And that keeps us going. It drives us. So the zone here, it's a matter of the mindset. I can be a little bit more loose here because I know I'm not in a competitive mode.
Yeah.
This is more. I take this as more of the. This is more driving to work. This is more. I'm on the job here.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
So,
something you do every day. No big deal.
Right. Now, when I'm competing, it's more that. Let's see. How do I put this? Okay, like a singer. You know, they're going to.
You're on stage.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I do get nervous. You know, because I'm center stage. I'm amongst a large group of people. But it comes with there in a competition. You have to remain in control. And so, getting in the zone, it takes you in a very high level of control. So you have to know when to release and when to hold back. You see, otherwise, if you're constantly in that realm of where you're constantly releasing, again, it goes with you're burning energy. You have to know when to hold on to that, hold it in. You know the weight's there, you know the obstacle at hand is there, but to stand there and meditate on that, you know, have that deep conversation with yourself, you know, to keep focused, to know when to let that out.
Oh, check this. You trying to tell me basically the zone is that place in between going completely mad,
yeah,
with energy and release, and doing absolutely nothing. Well, basically, complete stillness and complete motion. And the zone is where you are right in the middle in thinking. Is that the zone we're talking about? Oh, that's deep. That's deep. And as long as you can maintain that,
that's the key.
You good? Oh.
That's the key.
Oh.
Because while you have in a competition, sitting and being still and meditating on the obstacle at hand, knowing when to release, you have to also again tune out. There's distraction. Again, the hype of the crowd. You have your friends, your partners coming up. They're amped up to where they're tugging on you, pulling on you, and yet to keep that. Because if you let go just the slightest inch, you can throw your whole plan off because you're wasting that energy and taking your focus off of the task at hand and getting caught up in the hype, because then now you have to refocus because you focused on everything else. And then by the time you focus on everything else, it could be your time to go up to the stage, to the platform, and lift. And now you got to get yourself back to the zone. Yeah, it's.
Tell me something. Your experiences as a weightlifter, and that's what your primary thing is now. You used to be a wrestler, and you used to be a competitive wrestler, and used to be a competitive, or at least a sparring martial artist. What martial art did you study, by the way?
I studied a little bit of traditional Bruce Lee style of Jeet Kune Do.
Jeet Kune Do, okay, all right. That was your style, Jeet Kune Do. Did you ever spar in Jeet Kune Do?
No, I was taught by a gentleman. He lived very, I would say, closed in. I mean, he got out to the public, but.
So you had an indoor teacher. They call it indoor. You were an indoor disciple of a person who was
right.
Really
me and him were actually more one-on-one because the occupation I was in, I was also a bouncer. And when I studied martial arts, I was a lot smaller than what I am now.
Right.
And so it was more to be able to defend myself, take care of myself. But he showed me, being that I was in that type of environment, he showed me a lot of things that he didn't show his actual students in his dojo.
Right.
And so it was more, my training was a little bit more
combat oriented.
Right. So it was two different. He taught two different aspects of Jeet Kune Do.
You done? Okay.
Yes.
So you have experience with the actual street usage of martial arts and the competitive aspects through wrestling of martial arts. Tell me, in a real short blurb, a minute or so to end the interview, your meditation methods with regard to weightlifting. Do you think any of that would apply to your martial arts background? And if so, what little bit of advice would you give a martial artist that does not lift weights, and what the advantages they could get by lifting weights the way you do and using your martial arts? What would you give to them? Should you give anything?
You had said something. Did the meditation? The meditation, how I meditate, actually comes from how I was trained in martial arts.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Talk to me.
And so it's kind of even really, it's almost like Jeet Kune Do within itself, even in weightlifting. You know, kind of you take something you use from
the formless way.
Right, and so whatever is useful to you, you use it. And so I took how I was trained to meditate in martial arts and applied to how training competition, it helps me stay focused.
Awesome, man. Is there anything else you want to add to me? First of all, I thank you, national champion. You know, sitting down with you, ain't even got my doctorate yet, but you sat down with me and gave me some time, and I appreciate that. Hope you come back for more. For more interviews, and anything else you want to give to any sports psychologists, individuals that try to help people mentally get in the zone. Do you have anything else to give us students, things we should focus on to help athletes like you out? Anything you want to share with us?
As far as getting in the zone?
Yeah.
Don't be intimidated by the obstacle. And as far as weightlifting goes, remember, it's only a hunk of iron. Be positive. You already have the goal in mind. Know that you're going to accomplish it. Confidence is not cockiness. Just focus. With the right mind, when you set your mind to it, it's done.
In training and in competition.
Exactly.
Understood. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right. This is again Sir Adrian. Okay, Sir Adrian Wright. All right. Can you believe this guy actually going to help me train a little bit on my Olympic weightlifting? Can you believe it? That's what I got. All right, Doctor Sargent and Dr. Jurica. This is what we got going on, and I appreciate you looking at this video. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.